What was the most fucked up thing you saw at your school? Back in 3rd grade 1997, a classmate of mine was acting out. I'm not sure if our teacher was in a bad mood or this was accepted behavior back in the day, but he made the troubled student come up the front of the classroom. He then grabbed this kid by neck, pinned him against the wall, and proceeded to lift him up off the ground as high as he could. I don't remember exactly what was said, but I do remember our teacher saying, "I could kill you if I wanted to, but not today," as he dropped him. The teacher pulled some Darth Vader shit. I am altering the assignment. Pray I don't alter it further. A new kid at our school grabbed the art teacher's scissors and threw them over a dividing wall when the teacher left the room. They hit some girl in a different art class on the other side, and one of the blades went through her cheek. We were held after class until he finally confessed, and we saw the police at the school later. He had been at our school for about a week, and we never saw him again after that day. Holy shit. How old was he? It was 7th or 8th grade. So probably 12 or 13? Middle school. Girl had the sewing machine needle go right through her finger. The left with the needle and thread just hanging out. Another kid had an X-Acto knife stabbed right into his wrist, by accident, so close to the artery. High school. Girl was run over by a bus. It backed over her, then pulled forward over her again. We had fundraisers and pep rallies for her. She made a full recovery and is still playing sports at almost 40 now. Sex in the bathroom. Endangered turtle was found during construction. All construction had to stop until the turtle moved out. PE teacher. You know how that one goes. Some kids were punching a mason jar lid that we used to seal a jar with some bug in it. They were doing it as some sort of who's tougher test. When the teacher sees this and sees they have small scratches on their knuckles, she proceeds to tell them that the bug was poisonous and they will die very soon since they drew blood punching the lid. We were maybe 10 at the time. She made them write goodbye notes to their parents and make goodbye speeches to class. We were all tripping because we believed her too. It was wild. This sounds like something my brother would tell me when we were kids, such as, the recorded bear growls played on a local bear-themed amusement park ride were real audio recordings of a man being mauled by a bear. The condensation on the windows in a bus we were on might build up so much that we would drown before we got where we were going. The dead scorpion encased in epoxy he had in his room was actually alive, and he could free it somehow and send it at me if I annoyed him too much. Those rockets on display at the Space Museum, they forgot to drain the fuel, so if you stand underneath them there's a chance they will ignite and turn you into charred bits. And of course the classic, if you accidentally eat an apple seed you'll slowly die and become an apple tree. This seriously terrible girl who always smelled bad and screamed at people that she was a witch and she'd curse you kept bugging my buddy to sell her his Ritalin. He told her no a whole bunch of times, but finally about a week before the school year ended he needed money for something and finally agreed. She immediately went to the administration who called the police and he was both expelled and ended up in juvie. As far as I know she's still an insufferable piece of trash almost 30 years later. What an annoying witch. A sexual assault happened in the lunchroom and the principal swept it under the rug and tried to cover it up. Then there were about 3 riots in the school. Everything got put under control at an assembly. She didn't admit to sweeping it under the rug. In fact, she didn't even acknowledge it happened even though it was brought to her attention. She just paid attention to the riots, disregarding their meaning. And no, the girl who was assaulted never got any justice. I think she transferred schools. A rape happened in a classroom at my school. The victim was advised to drop out, while the rapist got to walk at graduation. What the fuck? Not saw. But I did experience the aftermath. A kid at our school died once, while out on a school camp. They were way out in the Australian outback. The teachers made barbecue for the kids, and one of the boys, for some reason, ate the food kebabs without asking what was in them, even though his parents had filled out his permission form indicating clearly that he had food allergies. Long story short, hardcore anaphylaxis. Throat swelled shut. Fell to the ground, foaming. School nurse stabbed him with every single EpiPen they had in the medical kit. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Fuck all happened. Picked him up, threw him in the van, and sped out of the campsite at top speed down the road. They were so far out in the middle of nowhere that there's no phone reception. Can't do anything. Can't call for an ambulance, helicopter, nothing. Finally got to the nearest town, called emergency services. Helicopter arrived, loaded the kid onto it, started treatment, flew straight back to town. Never made it. Dead before the chopper landed. I was working at the school at the time. I had a job offered by the school to graduates, which I accepted, and found out all the details from the school nurse. 2 people having sex in the disabled bathroom stall, and someone filming it and spreading it around the school. The girl tried to kill herself after. This is going back 20 years. Freshman year. A girl in my class sent nudes to her sophomore boyfriend. The entire student body had them within a month. The kids were absolutely ruthless in mocking her. It led to her developing an eating disorder. She missed the rest of the year for inpatient treatment. Exact same thing happened in my school 10-15 years ago. Add on that her mom was in charge of planning her class's reunion. She ended up stealing thousands of dollars sent in by alumni. Girl was brutalized. In 1981 I was in grade 4 and we had a sadistic teacher. She'd beat us for any reason. The worst I saw were 2 incidents. The first was when she caned a boy on his palm. She thrashed his hand until the skin broke and blood gushed out. The second was when she called a boy up to the blackboard to solve a maths problems. Poor boy was so terrified he froze. She grabbed him by the neck and smashed his head against the blackboard several times. She regularly did this to him, and eventually he ended up in hospital with a serious concussion. She taught there for many years and no one ever did anything about her. This was in South Africa, and back then teachers were considered untouchable by most parents. If you came home complaining that a teacher hit you, you'd probably get another thrashing because the teacher was always right. She's dead by now, and I hope she's burning in the deepest reaches of hell. When I was at 1-2 grades, we had this extremely friendly janitor who could be found in his small office, and he would close the door and give you some candies. I heard about this and never believed my friends, but I decided to go see him on one of the breaks. I know what you think, but stay with me. I knocked. He opened and asked me what my name was and what I would like to do when I grow up. He gave me 2 candies and said thank you for visiting. Yep, just a normal dude who likes kids. Also, we had computer class where we were taught stuff like Paint, Word, PowerPoint. We had about 20 Pentium 1 computers. One day, all the computers were gone, disappeared. And so was he, the candy-giving nice dude. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe to the channel, as well as write comments what was the most fucked up thing you saw in your school.